Hello and welcome to the Wendell Effect. My name is Brandon Wendell, and I'll be guiding you through my view on the U.S. equity index futures markets to start off with. Before we get started, just got to remind you, we're not broker dealers or investment advisors. We're going to look at this from an educational standpoint only. I'm not giving any personalized recommendations or telling you to buy or hold any particular securities. There is always risk involved in the markets, and we can never eliminate the risk. We just try to minimize it, and we are not subject to trading restrictions. We can have a position in a security and initiate one at any time. Please stay in touch with me. You can email me, brandonwendell.cmt@gmail.com. Just let me know what you think. If there's something you'd like to talk about or see in the videos in the future, please let me know. You can follow me on at TraderBDub on Twitter to stay in touch with me. I tweet pretty much every single day, and you can also find us on YouTube, obviously, for the Wendell Effect. And please make sure you hit like and subscribe, and maybe the alerts as well, so you know we have new videos coming out, and it really helps us out. So thank you. So as I mentioned, this is the weekly market analysis for the equity index futures for the week of April 30th, 2023. And we're going to kick this off looking at the ES, and you can see we're still stuck in kind of a sideways channel. We failed to make new highs last week, although we did finish up with a pretty bullish candle. We're still below 60 on the RSI, which we need to be above 60 when we make new highs to really sustain that movement. On the daily chart, you can see we have a small pullback in the beginning of the week, only pulled back 38% from the highs and could not go into bearish territory. So now here we are rallying again. We are above 60, although we have not broken to a new high. We'll watch to see on Sunday evening or Monday during the day if that's what we end up doing. If we break out and close on Monday above 60 on the RSI and at a new high, I would expect us to reach up to my target, which is just below that supply at 4280 area. So look for that to possibly happen. On the 4-hour chart, we still see lots of bullish pressure. There could be a small pullback early in the week, and if it does pull back slightly, I'd expect us to pull back just as 4160 before we go higher. Looking at what's been going on in the equity markets as a whole, the NASDAQ was our leader from March 13th to the upside. When it stumbled, everything started to fall, and you can see the Russell, which was the weakest index, really pulled back quite a bit. So that was kind of our leader down, if you will, the Russell. Once the Russell found footing, and you could see going forward from the end of March, well, both the Russell and the NASDAQ tried to lead us down, and they started turning. So now that they've bounced, those will possibly take over again. Really, the NASDAQ itself would probably take over again as the leader back upwards. Then we'll watch for that. So taking a look at the NASDAQ on the weekly chart, you can see we're pushed up against supply yet again, and we're struggling to get momentum to break through. So if this maintains the same momentum as before, I don't see us getting through the supply during this week, or maybe even during the month of May. So we're getting a little bit of weakness here, and again, this has been the leading index trying to push us higher. The daily chart shows a much worse picture. Again, you see we lost a lot of momentum compared to what we've seen before, and that is not indicative of a market that wants to go up. We are just below this daily supply, and really it's two zones combined here. So you have rally-based drop and drop-based drop at that 13,410 to 740. So that is the big boundary or barrier that we're running into, and the NASDAQ is trying to push higher, but without momentum going up, we're not likely to see that move. And if we do press a little higher, we could get stuck this week at the top of that range at 13,730. That is, if we do get more momentum. Looking at the 4-hour chart, this looks bullish. I mean, it definitely looks like it wants to push higher. We had a small bull flag that typically those are half mass, which should take us up to the 13,500 area on that next projection. But as I said, the daily doesn't look very strong, so watch out. It could be a bit choppy on this move to the upside this week. The Dow on the weekly time frame is still very, very weak. You can see that we couldn't get above the prior highs, both in price or momentum. So we're seeing much more weakness here. Going down to the daily chart, another problem with the momentum. Once again, we have a lack of bullish momentum. We don't have any bearish momentum per se to push us down, but nothing really to propel us to new highs either. So we could see that the Dow is going to be following the NASDAQ up, but at a much slower pace. And on the 4-hour chart, That is looking much worse for wear, if you will. You can see we actually went just a little below 40 on the RSI, which is bearish momentum. And this is not really a a bull flag. It's looking more like we may be getting rolling over of price. So this is definitely the weakest of the indexes so far. We'll see what the Russell looks like. And it doesn't look like it wants to carry forward to the upside. It's going to be dragged along. So look for longs if it were bullish on the NASDAQ, not the Dow. And the Russell Weekly is much weaker. As you can see, not enough to break down. We're still in this sideways channel. So unfortunately, we may just be choppy again. On the daily chart, same thing. Relatively bearish, but not enough to really break us to new lows. We're having trouble getting below 1700. Once again, if the NASDAQ goes up, this will weekly move up. It'll move with it, but not very strong. It'll have trouble getting above 1800 this week, honestly. And you can see that we're pushing up against supply right now, and we're staying below 60. If that maintains the momentum below 60 on the RSI, then we're just going to flatten out and possibly project or move downward towards that 1670 area. So that's what I got for you on the equity index futures. If you got any questions, please send me an email, brandonwaddell.cmt@gmail.com. Hit me up on Twitter @TraderBDub. And of course, please hit that like and subscribe. It really helps us out. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Until next time, trade safe, trade well, and take care, everybody.